Hey, everybody. Welcome to Lawyer Interviews. It's Reggie, and today we are talking with Leah, who is out of Southern Texas. Leah practices personal injury on the plaintiff side. Leah, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
I am too. And as we just discussed, you are our first very southern, of the states located attorney. So I'm really excited to talk to you about that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm here on the Texas-Mexico border. I live in a city called Edinburgh, but my office is in a city called McAllen, but it's kind of just the same thing. It's called the Rio Grande Valley. We're close to the beach. We have South Padre Island. We have Mexico. So it's very warm year round. So it's a really cool place.
Oh man, warm year round sounds really nice right now in the winter when I'm dealing with the snow. So
how cold is it right now where you are?
It's not too bad. It's in the 30s, but there were a few days last week where like 15, 16, and I was really cold.
So last week we got down to the 30s and people like just didn't even go to work because that's just
too cold. They're like,
yeah.
no, we quit.
They were like canceling school, and yeah, if there's any chance of ice, the whole city, all of South Texas just sort of shuts down.
Oh,
We
that's
can't handle it. We can't handle it.
Yeah,
we do live with 100+ degree temperatures in the summer. We don't really have a fall, so
yeah,
we have to battle the heat.
that's true. I mean, I guess pick your battle. No matter what, you're going to have one.
I'd rather be hot, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, Leah, it's so good to talk to you, and also love your social media accounts. You have a couple of them, and especially girl after my own heart, you've got a lot of neat posts about fashion, and especially for fashion and the law. I'd like to know how those two subjects decided to pop up on your social media, law and fashion.
Yeah, so I have always been, like, from a young age, a hardcore girly girl. Like, I love dressing up. I love wearing dresses, skirts, putting on makeup. I've just always been a really big girly girl ever since, I was like a toddler. And so it's just something that I've always been into. I really like fashion. I really like beauty. And I figured, okay, I'm a lawyer. That's what I do for a living. But who wants to follow strictly lawyer like content? Like lawyer stuff gets boring. I think we work in a profession where the general public isn't super interested in what we do.
Right.
And so one of my challenges is making my account somewhat interesting to follow. And so I was like, okay, well, I love fashion. I love beauty. I love makeup. I love clothes, shoes, purses, all of that. So I'm just going to have fun with it and just post sort of like lifestyle posts and then sprinkle in some law here and there. And so I divided up my personal page, which is Crash Gal, and then my law firm page. And so my law firm page is a lot more like legal content. We try and make it as fun as possible. We'll throw in like funny content. And then my personal page is more like lifestyle, fashion, food, traveling, hobbies, my cat, that sort of thing. That way people can, see both sides of me. Like, yes, I am a lawyer, that's my full-time job, but this is a lot about who I am. This is my personality. This is what I like. So I like showing both sides of myself. I think it makes me more relatable to clients.
Absolutely. And have you found that clients do relate to you more in reality because of your social media?
I do. I feel like a lot of clients come to my office or I'll talk to them on the phone and they're like, I kind of feel like I already know you. It's so weird because I know so much about you and your life and like your hobbies. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess it's cool that even though you felt like me, you wanted to hire me for a very serious situation.
Right.
And I think previously people wanted to feel like their lawyer was not relatable. You know what I mean? Like the lawyers should be like these very serious, stern, very smart and argumentative people. And now I feel like the trend, even in politics, we want people who are like cool, who are
Right.
down to earth, who are relatable. So I don't know how effective that is for me and my, marketing. But it's what works for me. That's what I enjoy. I don't want to, come off as this super serious person all the time, because that's just not who I am.
Right.
I feel like the younger generation, Gen Z, millennials, they appreciate knowing what kind of lawyer they're going to hire. So
Mhm.
I like that that's my approach. Some people don't agree.
Mhm.
Some people want to, not be relatable. That's
Stay
not my
stuffy.
approach.
They want to stay stuffy.
Yeah, and that works for them.
Right.
Some people don't want to be relatable. They think it, makes them less desirable to hire. I'm not really worried about that. I think that my numbers, my settlement numbers, my work speaks for itself. So I feel free to be myself.
Absolutely. Well, and I think too, it's neat to be able to have a very intimate understanding of social media too, because it's obviously not going anywhere. And it's still,
Definitely.
it's a new frontier of advertising. So, get on board or miss the ship.
Exactly. And I'd rather be at the forefront of all of these trends and new ways of advertising than, trying to hop on later. So,
Absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit about, the plaintiff side of personal injury. So how long have you been practicing?
so in November of 2021 was my 5-year anniversary of being a lawyer. I would say I've been doing exclusively plaintiff's work for about 3 years.
Okay.
The first 2 years, I did a lot of everything. I did criminal defense, I did family law, I did business disputes, I drafted contracts. So I realized that I didn't really like any of that,
Yeah.
but it's nice to bring that knowledge into personal injury when I need it. You know what I
Right.
mean? There's a lot of different areas of law that bleed into personal injury, and I'm glad that I have that experience, to be able to inform me in what I do now. But I've found that this area of the law is what I enjoy the most. I like that it's all contingency fee based. My clients don't pay me anything out of pocket. Because I was always like feeling bad and never collecting money. Like I was bad at like getting payment from my clients when I was doing like their divorce or representing them on a criminal matter. So I ended up like doing a lot of stuff for free. And I realized I'm not really good at collecting money from my clients. Maybe I should try something where they don't have to pay me. And so
Right.
this is perfect. This is perfect because everybody wins. I
Right.
mean, I'm sure everybody hears that we only get paid if you do, and it's true. I only get paid if I'm able to secure a settlement for you. So
Right.
um, I really enjoy this area of law. I think that it's really rewarding. My clients are, going through very difficult times in their lives, and it's nice to be able to help them through tough
Absolutely.
situations.
Absolutely. And talking about contingency fee, for the viewers that may not be aware, obviously you just explained it. You don't get paid unless you win. How is that in practice? I mean, how hard is that, for a lawyer when you're trying to also pay your own bills and you're looking at,
It's really hard. It's really hard to build a contingency fee based practice, and you have to be willing to be patient because a lot of times, a case from the beginning to end could be 6 months, 8 months, a year, 2 years. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's not like I'm getting paid today. Like I signed you up as a client and I'm getting paid today. No, you have to wait, a few months before you even see any sort of money coming in.
Right.
So, in order to, pay my bills and to live, I was doing a lot of, different areas of law that I wouldn't say I hated. It just wasn't my passion.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and I enjoyed the lessons that I learned. I'm glad that I learned that it's just not my cup of tea.
Mhm.
But that's what paid the bills until 2 years into it. I was like, okay, a steady stream of settlements coming in every week, every month. Now I can stop doing these things that I'm not 100% in love with, and I can focus on what I do love.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That makes a lot of sense. And, so that you can get that backfill of of the long-term game.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of lawyers don't realize that it's going to be a while before money is coming through the door consistently if you do plaintiff's work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and I'm curious too, with, the past few years and everything going on worldwide, how has that affected contingency fee litigation in your opinion? Has it, drug out? Is it helping settlement more or no?
So COVID has affected what I do in several ways. The first is that a large percentage of my practice is car accidents.
Mm-hmm.
And when we had this like nationwide shutdown,
Yeah.
nobody was driving. So there was less accidents, which is a good thing. I'm glad, there were less accidents, but we definitely saw our numbers go down for a few months when that shutdown was in effect.
Right.
And then as you probably know, we do a lot of Zoom court. I can't
Mm-hmm.
remember last time I stepped into the courthouse for court. Everything is on Zoom. And it took a while for the legal system to catch up with the technology. A lot of cases are getting, pushed back for, getting set for trial 2 years from now. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it has, dragged out some cases in that sense. And clients for the most part are very understanding. They get what's going on, and we tell them like, hey, we'll litigate this file, but just know right now that we might not see a trial date until 2023, 2024.
Right.
And so I always try and give them as much information as possible to be able to make an informed decision on whether they want to go forward with litigation or try and settle pre-litigation.
Right. Have you noticed a difference in defendants, since you're on the plaintiff side, of defendants that you're suing being more willing to cooperate in settlement, or are they more willing to roll the dice because it's a little bit pushed out further?
I honestly haven't, because I'm dealing with insurance companies, every day. I haven't really noticed a huge difference in negotiating tactics or, well, it's COVID, so good luck to your client. They're not going to see this money like none of them have ever said anything like that. I feel like everything has been pretty consistent. But I think it's because they know that we know that if we're going to litigate this is going to take a long time. And I'm sure that they are somewhat happy about that because, plaintiffs are more inclined to settle pre-litigation because otherwise it's, 2-3 years from now. But they haven't outright said it to me.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
You're thinking
they're not that tactless, I guess. They have not outright said it, but I haven't really seen it affect offers. I don't feel like I'm getting super low offers because of COVID. You know what I mean?
Right.
I feel like I'm getting, pretty fair offers or, similar offers as to the offers before COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think it's always interesting to hear how the last few years have affected different areas of law, because it is like it can change the dynamics completely between opposing parties. So it's kind of interesting to hear that it hasn't had too much of an impact, which is good. We want the court system to work as it's supposed to.
Yeah, well, it has affected because of course my clients, they have to go to therapy, they're injured, and so when we had the shutdown, a lot of our clients had to switch to virtual therapy. So they were meeting with their doctors, like right here on Zoom. And then, for those who don't have access to technology, that posed a problem because here in South Texas, we have a lot of people who don't have laptops.
Right.
Don't know how to use technology. They don't know how to, get on Zoom. So it did pose a problem in that sense. Some clients, they would actually get COVID and be out of therapy for several weeks or a whole month. And, the insurance company is like, hey, why is there this big gap in treatment and in therapy?
Right.
And so, we have to explain, well, they had COVID. Okay, well, do you have a positive test?
Yeah.
No. And so that I guess, yeah, it sort of presents a problem. But, a lot of my clients now are able to present positive tests. But, back then when there weren't really any tests to go around, it was just
Right.
like, you have to take our word for it. And a lot of insurance companies were understanding. Some weren't,
Right.
all insurance companies are different, but it's
Right.
been really interesting to navigate, the legal system during a pandemic.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's neat that it sounds like you are able to pull client expectations. I know that that's one area, I've definitely struggled with, because some of it is just taking out the predictability of the court system, because some of it I'm like, I don't know. I don't know when it's going to open. I don't know when I don't know. I've never seen
I
anything like
know.
it.
And I hate saying that. I hate saying that to clients, because they trust us to know everything and it's just like, I don't know when, when we're going to get a trial date for your case, or,
Right.
just, it's kind of heartbreaking to tell clients that.
It is. And I mean, I don't think the law is any different than other areas of business that are also dealing with, delays and catching up. But it is hard when you've got people's lives. And like you said, you're dealing with people who are coming to you because they're injured or probably in the worst time of their lives looking for help. And so I'm sure that that's an extra vulnerability that's hard to navigate.
Exactly.
So tell me a little bit, Leah, about what you would say, I guess, to someone who is maybe 6 years behind you, about to graduate law school, trying to figure out what they want to practice. What advice would you give them?
God. I feel like the answer to this question changes so often. I truly believe that you're not going to really know what area you want to practice until you kind of experiment with
Mhm.
different areas of law. Hopefully people did that in law school.
Yeah.
Hopefully in law school, people worked at different law firms, did whatever clinics their law schools offered, and kind of got a taste of what they like and what they don't like.
Right.
That's exactly what I did when I was in law school. I worked on the defense side, on the insurance defense side of things, and I hated it. And I knew there's no way that this is what I'm not going to do this hourly billing. I'm not going to, defend insurance company. It was just awful. And what I realized what I really liked is more like social justice, legal aid. I
Mhm.
worked for Texas Rio Grande Legal Aid, and I really enjoyed more of like helping people
Mhm.
rather
Mhm.
than, big companies.
Yeah.
And so I sort of fell into this because I felt like, hey, I'm helping individuals,
Mhm.
um, get fair compensation for injuries that were not caused by them.
Right. Right.
Some people, like I have friends who work at big law firms and they do the hourly billing and they love it and they love the stability and they love the salary and the benefits. And I have some friends who don't even they have a law degree, they don't even practice law.
Right.
They do, or they do in-house counsel work, or they do transactional work, and they've never been in a courtroom in their lives.
Right.
That's the great thing about being a lawyer, is that there's so many different areas of law that you can really find one that fits you. It's just
Mhm.
a matter of like getting there. And so what the advice that I always give recent law graduates is like, don't freak out. The job that you're going to get now doesn't have to be your job forever,
Yeah. Yes.
and I think that it used to society used to be like, okay, you can't be jumping from job to job, like you
Right.
have to stay in this job for 10 years. And I think now it's more accepted to figure out what it is that you're passionate about, stay in your job for like, a year, figure out if you love it. If you don't, you can always change. So I always tell people, like, don't freak out. Whatever you choose right now, it doesn't have to be the rest of your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What I was doing 5 years ago is not at all what I'm doing today,
Right.
and but I thought that, okay, you graduate from law school, you pass the bar, and then you start a job and you're in that job for 30, 40 years or whatever. And that's really scary. That's a really scary commitment to make. And so I think after law school, people are worried, like, okay, how am I going to pay back my law school loans? How am I going to pay, for my bills? A lot of law students have families. They're worried about, making money.
Mm-hmm.
And they want stability.
Right.
So that's fine. You get a job, maybe you hate it, get another job, you're not stuck in that job for the rest of your life. And
Absolutely.
I think that a lot of people think that they are.
Mm-hmm.
So my advice to recent law grads is, don't freak out. Figure out if the job that you have is one that you love, and if not, experiment with other areas of law until you find the one that really fulfills you.
Absolutely. Well, and I think that's really good advice. When I graduated law school, the market was so saturated with lawyers that, first off, people were lucky if they had a job right out of law school, but very few got to pick an area of which they wanted to practice. So some people were like kind of stuck, they felt like, but as time went on, exactly that, they knew that, okay, now is time. I know I don't like this. I know I don't love this, so I can move along. But as more experience and more years are under your belt, I think you get more opportunities to try out new things and find what you love to do. And obviously you landed somewhere where you absolutely love it. And I think it's such a testimony to that. Experiment, because you never know. So
many of my law school friends now are in jobs that they really enjoy. Maybe, the first couple of years they weren't, but they, eventually found their way, and now they're very fulfilled. So don't panic.
Right. Well, that's another interesting area too. I mean, I don't know how long it took you, but for me, it was a while before I was comfortable being an attorney. I was like a deer in headlights for a little bit, because I was like, they did not teach me how to be a lawyer in law school. How long have you been practicing? I'm out now almost 8 years. So
okay, awesome.
It took me a minute to go, okay, I'm the authority. I'm the lawyer in the room and I'm supposed to know how to do this. How long did it take you to feel comfortable, with the law and being a lawyer?
I still have moments where I'm like, oh, wow, this is a fact pattern that I've never had come up in my 5 years of practicing law. I need to, figure out what the best strategy is to deal with this. But you're absolutely right. Almost nobody graduates from law school knowing how to be a lawyer. Everybody feels like a deer in headlights. Everybody is like, wow, what did I even learn in law school? Because I didn't learn how to be a lawyer.
I didn't learn anything.
And I remember really struggling with that. And then as women, I think as women, a lot of us struggle with imposter syndrome.
Absolutely.
So that's an added stressor, is like, am I even good enough to be a lawyer? How did this happen? Is this like a fluke? Like, how did I pass the bar? What's going on here?
Right.
I would say it took me a good year to 2 years to really feel like, okay. And I feel like I knew what I was doing within that first year, but to really get that confidence, you know what I mean? Like, you know what, like, I am a great lawyer, and look at all these cases that I've won, and look at all these people that, got really great plea deals from, the prosecutor based on my negotiating, and look at this great, settlement I was able to get for my client. I think it took me seeing those results to really be like, you know what, like, I am supposed to be a lawyer, and I'm a good lawyer.
Yeah. I can do this. I got this.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of men maybe have the opposite experience, where they're like, oh, I'm a badass, I'm a lawyer, like, I can do this. And but no, I mean, not all men. Some, of course, everybody struggles with imposter syndrome. It's not an issue specific to women.
Right.
But even now, 5 years into it, I'm like, whoa, this has never happened before.
Oh, absolutely.
But I have the tools to figure out what the best strategy is, what the best step is to take. But I know 20, 30-year lawyers who are still like, I'm still learning things every single day.
Right.
So if you're, 2, 3 years into it and you're still feeling like you're learning new things, again, that's not a reflection of you as a lawyer. It's just, laws are changing all the time. Society is changing all the time. Technology. There's just so many things that are changing all the time, and the legal field is going to change all the time. So you're never going to feel like absolutely everything, and that's totally
Right.
fine.
Absolutely. And it really is. It's a changing area. It's called the practice of
Yeah.
law. And yeah, same here. I sometimes I think I've got a case that's like another one, and it'll hit me with an issue or a fact pattern or a change in law. And I'm like, well, here we go again. Got to relearn this.
Yeah. And then it's kind of like, oh, this is interesting. I kind of like it because it's not just your run of the mill, this is how it was going to be.
Right.
Sometimes I have a challenge and I'm like, ooh, I like this.
Oh yeah. Never boring. That's the thing is, people wonder, oh, it's boring. I'm like, actually, it's not, because every case can be so different. The parties can be so different. They can add a layer of spice. The judge can add a layer of spice. You never know what you're gonna get.
Exactly.
Well, Leah, it's been so great talking to you. And before we go, I would love to know what you would consider maybe your favorite court combo. Like if you were going to wear like a power outfit to court, what would you wear? And, color combo, shoes, like give it to us.
Okay. Well, I feel like my signature color is red,
Love
as
it.
you can see. I feel like red is like, it's very powerful. It's like, screams confidence. Um, so, and I'm all about heels. I love
Yes.
wearing heels. I don't go to court in flats. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I always wear heels to court. I wear heels pretty much every day to my office. I
Girl
keep
after
my
my own
flats
heart.
I keep my flats here under my desk so that like, if I need to like walk around a lot, I can put them on.
Right.
But I don't know, I just feel more confident in heels. And I think that you can be a successful, accomplished businesswoman without sacrificing your femininity at all. You know what I mean? They're not, you can have both at the same time. And so I feel like femininity is really important to my identity.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd definitely be wearing a dress of some sort, probably a red dress, maybe one like I'm wearing right now,
Love
some
it.
heels, and then a jacket, a suit jacket over, and then a cute purse.
Love it. Love it. Love it. That's a great
bag.
combo.
Yeah,
Love it.
very, very girly, very feminine. That's my style.
I love it. I'm the same way. Like I show up to court in heels, and I've litigated in some really cold climates. So I wear the flats, and then I sit outside the court, security, taking 5 minutes to put my heels on so that I can walk through with
Right?
my
Oh my
shoes.
God. People don't know what we go through to wear our heels. And then you're where, in Utah or Minnesota?
So I practice in both Utah and Minnesota. So if it's winter, I'm not wearing my heels and slipping everywhere. So I've done both.
So how do you stay warm?
Coats. And
You
that's
wear like
always
pants every day?
no, I wear pants probably more than skirts. I'll say that in the winter. In the summers and fall, not so much, but in the winters, it's definitely like tights and pants, and I'll change into the heels when I get to the courthouse. But not with Zoom. Zoom court's a little different. I don't have to wear the heels or socks even. So
I think that gone are the days where women had to look a certain way in order to be deemed competent.
right.
I can add my own personal flair to my style and still be a competent lawyer. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I love that there's this movement of like young women lawyers who are like, oh, I don't look like a lawyer. Well, what does a lawyer look like?
Right.
Like I have the paper to show that I'm a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I don't look like a conventional stuffy lawyer doesn't mean anything about my capabilities as a lawyer. And I really like that movement.
Yes.
So I try to talk about that on my platform.
I love it too. And especially for, like you said, for women, because for a very long time, women's dress was regulated even in local rules, like no skirts, this length, or don't wear this color, don't wear heels this size. And it was literally within local judges' rules. And some states, there still are those rules out there, just hanging out. And you're like, what does this have to do with the way I represent my clients and how I appear to the court? Why?
Exactly. No, I agree. And I really like this trend or this movement where like young women lawyers are really showing their personalities through their work style. And, saying, hey, I may not look like a conventional lawyer, but look at all of my list of accomplishments to
Right.
show that I'm a great lawyer.
Agreed completely. Could not agree more. Well, Leah, it's been so great talking to you. And thank you again for joining us for lawyer interviews. And if you don't mind just telling everyone where they can find you on social media, and we'll throw up your usernames, but we'd love you to tell us so that they can follow you.
Awesome. So on Instagram, my username is @crashgal. On TikTok, it is the same thing, @crashgal. And on Facebook, it is my law firm name, Leah Wise Law Firm. So
Perfect.
Thank you so much for having me. It
yeah,
was so fun
thank
talking
you.
to you.
You too. And thanks everybody for watching Lawyer Interviews, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.